welcome to this week's Wednesday Wandering with me, Kate Field. That's me, wandering about stuff, not just wandering off. Today, we're going to dive into something small but incredibly powerful, the haiku. Haikus are those little poems that encapsulate true wonder, the fleeting moments of beauty and emotion and nature in just 17 syllables. Now, you might be wondering, what makes these so special? Well, in this sometimes bonkers world, haikus can remind us to slow down, to savour the present moment. They're like tiny snapshots of life, distilled into their simplest and purest forms. And for artists, they're an endless source of inspiration. So, let's explore the essence of haikus, their simplicity, their connection to nature, and how they can inspire creativity in other art forms. Welcome! If you are new to my channel, my name is Kate Field. I'm an artist, a writer, a teacher and speaker, and I am passionate about helping people connect with their creative spirit and develop it. So, what is a haiku? Let's start with the basics. A haiku is a traditional Japanese poem with a very specific structure, 3 lines with 5, 7 and 5 syllables respectively. But what makes haikus truly special, I think, isn't just their structure, it's what they focus on. Haikus are all about capturing a single moment, often tied to nature or changing seasons, and they're not about telling a long story or diving into deep abstract ideas. Instead, they focus on the now. A snowflake melting on your hand, the sound of rain on the leaves, or the way the sunlight dances on the water. Here's an example of a classic haiku by Bashō, one of Japan's greatest haikus. So, an old silent pond. A frog jumps into the pond. Splash. Silence again. In just a few words, Bashō captures the whole scene. You can hear the splash, the stillness that follows. It's simple, but it's so profound. So, he was born in 1644, and he's one of the most renowned poets in Japanese literature, the master of the haiku. And his work transformed what was once a sort of a serious thing into playful poetic form. So he was born in Ueno in Iga province of Japan, and he grew up in a samurai family. But he was exposed to literature and poetry, and this came through his lord. And after the death of his lord, Bashō abandoned his samurai aspirations and moved towards a life dedicated to poetry and spiritual pursuits. It's fascinating. His poetry, deeply influenced by Zen Buddhism and Taoism, which this idea of simplicity and mindfulness and deep connections, and this resonates throughout his whole work. And these moments of profundity in just tiny bits of work. It exemplifies the power of simplicity, the frog splash, the light of the moon. And there's a kind of a revealing of universal truths, I think. I think they're wonderful because haikus capture a moment, a feeling, or a slice of life in a way. And you don't have to be a master poet to do it. The joy is just doing it. So here's one of mine. Soft grey mist dances, wrapping woods in quiet surrounds. Nature holds its breath. Now, I wrote that on a morning walk through the woods, mesmerised by the mist. And so it doesn't have to be perfect. It's just about stopping, pausing, and then just putting what you hear or feel into words. So nature has this incredible way of telling stories, doesn't it? And that's why I think haikus often draw us back to the natural world. Here's another one I wrote. The old oak beckons, arms outstretched in ancient grace, stories carved in bark. And when I saw the oak tree, I could feel its history. And haikus are like that. They make us pause and reflect and appreciate the little things. The things that might otherwise be overlooked. So this is what I love about haikus. I love their simplicity. And in a world where we're just always bombarded with stuff and information, haikus can remind us that less can be more. They strip away the noise and they can focus on the essence of a moment. So think about this one by Yosa Buson. The light of a candle is transferred to another. Spring twilight. Just 3 lines, yet it captures the quiet beauty of light being shared, a moment of connection and the warmth of spring. And there's just so much meaning in those few words. So Yosa Buson, born in 1716, another Japanese poet. He was a painter, one of the great masters, and his work is renowned for its vivid imagery, its artistic sensibility, blending poetry with a painter's eye. And the simplicity doesn't just apply to haikus. It's something we can carry into other forms of art, which is really passionate for me. Painting and writing, illustration, photography. So take away all the stuff. What is left? It's this simplicity. It's not about doing less. It's about focusing on the things that are important. So Buson was considered to be a painter's poet. He was an accomplished painter and illustrator, and his artistic training significantly influenced his poetry. And his poems are visual and detailed. So they frequently depict scenes of nature, everyday life, but with this emotion. And I think it's this kind of transient beauty that is so powerful and really powerful in Japanese haikus. So here's one of his. The light of a firefly drifting over still water, a summer moon. Spring rain dripping down, the roof tiles of an old town, a twilight echo. What is happening in your imagination when you hear these? I'll do one more. The piercing cold air, moonlight on the frozen field, a crying fox. So as artists, we can take this same approach in our own work. So we can look to nature for inspiration, which I do all the time. We can notice those little details, the way that shadows fall, the sound of leaves crunching underfoot, the smell of the rain. Nature is an absolute treasure trove, isn't it, of moments waiting to be captured, whether through words or paint or your camera. And Buson's haikus are considered more polished and refined than that of Bashō's, but Bashō's embraces the simplicity and the rusticity. And Buson focuses on elegance and visual clarity. But blending poetry and painting is just really important for me. And I love these. I love the fact that the boundaries are fluid. And because this gives them emotional depth. And haikus, I feel, are deeply emotional. They capture fleeting, the fleeting moment of beauty and life. Powerful observations. That kind of the light of the firefly, the sound of the rain and all of that. I absolutely love it. I think you can see how passionate I am about these. So Buson invites us to see life not as it is, but maybe as it could be. That kind of, I don't know, moments of optimism, I think. And I'm just going to talk about one more. Kobayashi is 1763. He was a Buddhist priest as well as a poet. And his haikus are funny. There's sort of struggles with life and the pain of existence and emotion. They have emotional resonance, but there is humour, and this is what makes them truly personal. And so, yeah, I absolutely recommend that you go and do some more research on Japanese haiku poetry and other people who are just writing haikus. So, and the thing is, how can we use them? How can you use them to inspire your own creativity? So you can use a haiku as a prompt. So take one that you love or create something inspired and then create, getting all muddled up because I'm so excited. Take the haiku, create some kind of response to it, whether you write a little story or you could do an illustration or just do some sort of abstract art that has been inspired by the haiku. You could start a haiku journal. I write haikus all the time, actually, and I read them and I use them in my journals, and I can absolutely be inspired by them because they're really tiny, so you can write them out really quickly, but they're so powerful. I feel that they have a power to transform how we see the world. They teach us to slow down, to savour the present, to find beauty in simplicity. And as artists, they inspire us to capture life in a unique way. So this week I challenge you to write a haiku or read one or let one inspire you. You'll be surprised by the inspiration in just 3 lines. If you're writing, it doesn't have to be perfect. Just tumble something out in that pattern of 5, 7 and 5 syllables. So, thank you. Thank you for joining me in this week's rather passionate Wednesday Wandering. And if they have inspired you, I'd love to hear your thoughts. So drop me a comment, send me a message. And until next time, keep creating, keep noticing, keep finding beauty in those beautiful things. And if you want some more inspiration, you need to look at this one. And I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.